Felbus Demon. Another day, 3 students from university were about to take an exam session, but they resorted to magic in order to pass the exam. They bought cigarettes called lightweight which they dipped in the perfume. At the appointed hour they stood at the crossroads to summon unseen spirits. It was past midnight. I went to the cemetery to enter the unseen world that is in every cemeteries of the world. The sight of these young people at this hour of the night and in such a place made me smile. I approached them and asked them jokingly if they were not afraid to walk at such a late hour of the night. Those young people, being uncooperative, said, "You are the one who is supposed to be afraid since you're alone and we are 3. I could not tell them that I was not alone, though I had a legion of servants spirits that protected me, so I continued walking down the road to the cemetery, wishing them good luck in their business. A little further, in my path, I met 3 unclean spirits coming. These were 3 perfectly ugly monsters. Words fail me to describe the shape or appearance that these spirits had. I cannot compare them to any creature of our world. There is no comparison. The sight of these vile beings gives nausea. At the sight of these spirits, a fear came over me and I wanted to flee. Yes, I wanted to run away, because despite all the time that I was in magic I had never seen spirits as ugly and repulsive like these one. But, remember that I had gone beyond the ordinary magic. My initiator considered me his son and had thus taught me a lot of knowledge that he had. This knowledge in principle required human sacrifices, but in my case I received them free of charge from my teacher. Thus after the usual magic I graduated in occultism, spiritualism, and finally the high magic. I was the only representative of the goddess of Indian Ocean, for the entire region of Eastern Congo. After summoning courage before these demons I dominated these evil spirits. I approached them and asked them where they were heading. I wanted to know who they were and where they were going because their presence had not been reported to me. It was my right to be kept informed of all the comings and goings of strangers in my jurisdiction. The evil spirits told me, "We are a spirit called Felbus. We are of the family of the Prince Beelzebub. Historically we operate in this neighborhood. We are summoned by friends and we are going to meet them." These spirits could not lie to me because I dominated their will, but the area in which they claimed to operate did not exist in our town. Seeing my bewilderment, they became impatient and also wanted to know who I was. I revealed to them my identity. I am the disciple of the goddess Maharashthi of India. Upon hearing the name of the goddess, the climate of mistrust that already existed among us dissipated and they told me, "We're in a hurry. We are also at the service of the goddess Maharashthi of India. If you want more information about us, phone us tomorrow at midnight." Shortly after they left I remembered the 3 students who seemed to be expecting a visit from some spirits. I was right. Indeed the Felbus were heading in the direction of the 3 students, but when these spirits came within sight of the 3 students, the latter did not have the courage to face the demons and they fled. I do not condemn them for fleeing. These Felbus were despicable and ugly. No one can bear to look at them or approach them without feeling a big fright. Besides, it's like they spread terror in their path. The evidence was that myself, if I had not had supernatural abilities, I would have been like them, fleeing these demons, while these students were running away from these spirits that they had summoned. One of the students who was fleeing stumbled and fell, knowing he would be caught, and from his desperation he prayed, "Lord Jesus, I acknowledge that I have sinned against you. Forgive my sin, thou the merciful. Save me, be my light and my strength." After this short prayer, something extraordinary happened. The Felbus demon who were coming from one direction fled, every man for himself, in 3 different directions. I did not understand why these wicked spirits were fleeing. I shouted to them to tell them not to be afraid of these young men, but none of them would listen to me, so I continued to scream while running behind them, "These are just kids, they are nothing, they are harmless." These demons heard my words very well, but none of them stopped. Their flight aroused my curiosity even more. For the second time, I changed dimension and managed to neutralize one of the 3 demon fugitives. I forced him to explain the reason for their sudden and hasty escape. He tried unsuccessfully to flee several times and told me this against his heartfelt desire. "We had to respond to the invocation of these 3 students that you saw, but when they saw us they fled, so we were angry because they bothered us for nothing. We were prepared to punish them, When one of them who fell on the ground called someone in prayer for help, he called a character who does not like his disciple to be touched or harmed. Since this student had called on him, we knew he was coming, and when he come he would capture us and would have put us in the bottomless pit. How could we live there in the bottomless pit? That's the reason for our hasty flight. On one hand it's our fault, we should have checked whether these students were in contact with that character. Anyway, had we known they were working with that character we would not come. I questioned the demon Phelbus, who was the figure whose name, pronounced by a student, had caused them to escape. What is the name of this character? He told me his name is the King of all Spirit, but I incited what is his name. The Phelbus looked very uncomfortable and very weak when quoting the name of Jesus. He wanted to flee as quickly from where we were. I released him and he went away unhappy. Any doubt was no longer possible for me. The power of Jesus surpassed any other power. How to explain a name pronounced late in the night by a young man could get the monsters in terror. 2 of the 3 students went mad. They did not even present themselves in the exams. God's word does say, everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Whenever people were dying, my teacher was taking me to the cemetery, telling me that we can talk to people that have died recently. There are also people who had died but they are being used as slave by their executioner. Among the dead spirit we were summoning I saw even the spirit of famous pastors. Being pastor does not mean that you will see the kingdom of God when you die. You must walk in the fear of God in order to see his kingdom. I was invoking the spirit of great men of God and they were appearing because they did not walk with God and they serve Satan. But they were also deceased people. When I summoned their spirit, great flames of fire was coming out and there were unexplained phenomena that manifested. One day I went to the cemeteries with my disciple. We were invisible in the cemeteries and people could not see us, and we were dressed accordingly. The spirit of the dead were always seated on top of the coffin and what was in the coffin was their body. I was told you should not fix them in the eyes for fear of dying in a cardiac arrest. You can either watch them with magic mirror or look at their inferior part. The dead's a spirit with power and knowledge that the living don't have. We went to a particular grave in order to talk to the dead person and question him about mysteries, but we found chorists singing before his grave that man is a creature of God created from dust and he will return to dust. I was stunned, and to our great surprise we saw the corpse of the deceased man inside the coffin but the spirit was not there above the coffin. I said all these years I had never seen this. We then used our magic mirror but we could not see the spirit of the dead man. I called my master and he told me, you cannot see the spirit of these people because they live differently from us. These kinds of spirits do not come here. In principle, on this earth, the life of every man has 5 components, which are food, clothing, wealth, honor and glory. The souls of the people who go to the abode of the dead are men who have spent life seeking all these 5 elements on earth, that are food, clothing, wealth, honor and glory, while the souls of people who only sought food and clothes, rejecting wealth, honor and glory during their pilgrimage and stay on earth do not come to the world of the dead. That means these people they lived in simplicity and austerity during their stay on earth, rejecting wealth, honor and glory during their journey on the earth, hoping to enjoy glory, honor and wealth with their master. This response of my teacher, instead of satisfying my curiosity, served only to excite me more. I wanted to know who the master of these people who have rejected wealth, honor and glory in this life in order to be with their master, and what place was reserved for those who did not come to the world of the dead and the cemetery dimension after death. To this last question my teacher said no one know the geographic location where these people go. A dead lady who was a servant spirit had followed my dialogue. My teacher, she took me aside and said, honey, I'm surprised the questions that you asked the teacher, after all the time you spent with us in the dimension of cemeteries. Is it true that you do not know where did the spirit of this deceased person had gone? You must understand that the spirit of that person cannot come here in the world of the dead just because he is a Christian. When a Christian come to the world of the dead it means that he was not a full Christian. Yes, there are Christians who come to the world of the dead because these are nominal Christians. True Christians do not come here. Their master does not like them coming here. He does not even want that they see the existence of our world. This is why when they die he sends angels to take them to where he is. As to where they go, no one here knows anything. We looked for them everywhere in this place but we never found them, so we resigned ourselves that they are not going to be here. But do you know why true Christians do not come here? A true Christian, if he has something to clothe and feed himself, that is enough. He does not seek glory, honor, power or wealth. It is these three things that drive believer to part with their master and come here. When I heard those words from my concubine of the world of the dead, I was seized with fear. I was afraid to be deceived. For the second time, I asked this question: what is the name of the master of Christians, and what awaits us we who are here in this dimension of the dead? My girlfriend of the world of the dead smiled a little, then she said, honey, you're not going to tell me that you do not know what awaits us, all of us here. Forgive me for forgetting, but the name of the Master of Christians is the King of all Spirit. When this King of all Spirit come back, he will come to judge the living and the dead. He will condemn us and all the spirit. All of us in the spirit world will be condemned and cast to the lake of fire and sulfur. He will throw us into an eternal lake of fire. This truth is known to all in the spirit world. That's why you see us live in opulence, because we have nothing to lose and nothing to gain. Our punishment has already been determined by the King of all Spirit. We expect its implementation, so in the meantime, we have fun in the time given to Lucifer and his angels. At these words, I remembered what my teacher used to say, about what would happen to my spirit after my death. He never told me about the last judgment or condemnation. A cold anger flooded my soul against my polished teacher. I felt a terrible hatred for him. I forgot all the benefits he had given me. So the King of all Spirit is Jesus Christ, said my concubine of the world of the dead. I remember the claim and the words of the demon Phelbus that came to my mind, as they were running away from the King of all Spirit. I told myself that I had read somewhere that the Bible was true. I no longer allowed myself to doubt. Besides, what good is it to still doubt or deny the existence of God and of Jesus Christ, since the source that revealed to me these truths had no reason to lie to me? My whole body trembled with fear. I was afraid to let others know that I had finally found what they kept hidden from me for so long. That night, I decided to give up the magic and all its practices, whatever the consequences. But as I was in the cemetery dimension, then I pretended to work as usual without letting anyone know my thoughts. In the morning, about 4 o'clock, I went to the place where the exit was, and I recited the appropriate incantation to close the invisible world and opening of the visible world. The fairy world vanished, giving way to the cemetery cross planted in the ground. The dew had soaked vegetation, and the shadow of the night went, thus making room for a new day.